Hello, this is Corey, and in today's core concept, we will go over some of the basics of PowerShell modules. Normally, when I'm working on a project at my job, I usually break down my thought process as follows. First of all, I'm always trying to figure out what exactly am I trying to do here. And there's a process I'll usually go through to break down what I'm trying to do into smaller chunks, and I write it in what's called pseudocode. So I just take what I want to do and I break it down into simple steps that are human readable. And once I've done that, a lot of times with PowerShell, I'm thinking of what module will have some of the commandlets that I might need that I could leverage for whatever this task might be that I'm trying to achieve. And then I'll ask myself, do I have that module? Is it installed? Is it loaded? And what commandlets does that module specifically have that might be of interest to me? And then finally, if I find one of those commands that look interesting, I then try and get help on that command to see exactly what the command does and how I'm supposed to properly use it with its parameters. So first of all, what is a module? Well, when it comes to like other programming languages, you might be familiar with the term of like a library. Like Python has libraries, and those are usually pieces of code and software that others have already written that have various functions and perhaps classes and things that can be leveraged, that you don't have to write out of the box from scratch, but someone else has provided and bundled up for you that you can then reach out to and call to for whatever you're writing. Modules can be thought of in a very similar way in the way that I look at them. They're usually based on a specific technology. Some of the modules I've used, to name a few, are like Active Directory, if I'm doing some kind of PowerShell script with Active Directory objects. There's the Exchange Online Management module if you're working in Exchange. There are other modules I've used, like PowerCLI, if you're trying to get information or automate the building of virtual machines in VMware. So there's a whole host of modules, and usually the module is surrounding a specific technology stack, and it comes with a bunch of commandlets that will allow you to do various things within that technology stack. So they're very, very important to be able to leverage these. How do you get these modules? Well, there's a number of different ways. One way is there are repos or repositories. Um, One of the things that you get initially when you install PowerShell is PowerShell Git module, which will come with commandlets that will allow you to reach out and get information from some of these online repositories. PowerShell Gallery is a Microsoft repository, very, very big there. Most people that are downloading things that are officially supported will be getting it from the PowerShell Gallery. Um, there are other ways, though. For example, I don't actually have an Active Directory domain set up here, but I did download and install the Active Directory users and computers and other server tools. And just by the fact that I installed these, it comes with PowerShell modules related to those things. So sometimes just by installing some other software package, it just comes with all of the related PowerShell modules as you install that set of tools. And obviously, you can also create PowerShell module files and write your own modules, which I've done before as well. We can get into that in subsequent videos about how to create your own functions and things, and write your own modules that can be leveraged. And there's sometimes a number of very good reasons to do that. Um, I'm also going to link in this video description an article, an official Microsoft article that will go into a little bit more detail about repositories and the PowerShell Gallery itself. And you can find that in the doobly-doo below this video. In addition, let's say that you know that you're going to be working with something. Let's say in this case it's Azure Active Directory. One of the commandlets that's in the PowerShell Git module is find module. So like on line 16 here, I have find module. I'm specifying the PS Gallery module, and I'm looking for a module named Azure AD. And if I run this, it returns some basic information, the version, the name. Of course, we specified the repository as PS Gallery. And then from there, you can use install module once you've located it to go ahead and start an installation. Now, I do trust PS Gallery, but I'm not necessarily going to install it right now. But this is how you would go about installing a module that you don't currently have on your system. Let's say you have installed it. Where are these stored locally? Well, you're going to find that you have an environmental variable, and it's called PS modules. You can see on the screen here. So if we go to this environmental variable PS module path, that's going to, in my case, it's going to show three different paths in my file system separated by a semicolon. And those are the paths where where PowerShell is going to search for modules related to any kind of commandlet that I would type. So normally you don't have to load or what's called import a module into your active session. If you type in a commandlet related to an installed module, it's going to check in these PS module paths, and it's going to see if you have the module related to the commandlet you're trying to use. And if so, it'll go ahead and import that into your active session. But you can also do this manually. The way that you can see what modules you have loaded is just a commandlet called Git Module. And currently these are my loaded modules. Let's say I know I'm working with Active Directory objects. Maybe I want to find out some group information in Active Directory, and I know that I have the Active Directory module installed. It's just not loaded. If I want to import that, I can use here on line 29, import module Active Directory. And now if I go to Git Module, I can see that the Active Directory module is loaded here. Now, if we think back to that workflow, I know what I want to do. I want to do something with Active Directory groups. I know that I have the module for Active Directory loaded and installed. Now, what if I just don't know what commands are available or what kind of commandlets come with this module? There is a very, very useful commandlet to help there called Git Command. And one of the parameters is module. So in this case, I'm going to go Active Directory because I know that's the module that we're after. Now, if I do Git Command module Active Directory, it's going to give me all of the commandlets that are coming with this installed version. Now, this could be a very intimidating list depending on what module you're using this commandlet on. So sometimes it's good to narrow that down a little bit. One of the ways you can do that is with the name parameter, and it works with it also works with wildcard. So here on line 33, we have Git Command module Active Directory, and then we have the name wildcard group wildcard. Now, if I run this, it's only going to return the commandlets associated with that module that has the word group in it. And let's say I'm looking for information about an AD group. I've found that one of the commandlets here is called Git AD group. Now that sounds promising, but let's say it's a commandlet I've never used before. Now that I've narrowed it down to something that looks promising, how do I get more information there? Well, once you've isolated what commandlet you want specifics on, you can use git help, name the commandlet, and then add parameters like full, which will run it. And that's going to give you a whole host of information and specifics about this commandlet. Now it's going to start you with a description of what the commandlet does, and it's going to give you a list of the parameters, which is very important. You can see if it has any required parameters. You can see what specific data type that parameter is looking to consume as an input. You can see if you can use the system pipe to pipe input to that command through the pipe. or to that parameter through the pipe, and all kinds of other very interesting information, as well as if you just want to get examples for that, you could do git help name and then git ad group, and then you can use a parameter here, just examples, and that will just give you the examples. It won't pull up all of the other information about the parameters and the description. It'll just give you whatever examples are available for this commandlet. Sometimes that's a good way to target a specific quick example, something that'll get you up and running quickly just by looking at something that would be a working example for using that commandlet properly. So this is just a brief overview of some of the things related to modules, how important they are, and then how you can kind of dig into a module to find specific commandlets and hopefully use that to leverage in whatever task it is that you're trying to achieve. I appreciate you watching, and I hope this was informative, and thank you for viewing. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.